How y'all folks think I'm looking today, man? I see. Straight home from school, sunshine. But now we finna get to the video though.
$1 million crime families going against contract killers. A rapping hitman paid $100,000 to even the score, which ended in 2 homicides in 1 attempt, and a wealthy drug trafficking couple betrayed by their associates in a very gruesome manner. Ooh. The underworld of America's northern neighbor is such a ruthless place that it's a wonder word didn't spread faster about these guys. So once again, for the second time on this channel, we're back in the cold streets of Canada. Except this time, we start about a 40-hour drive from Toronto in one of the most densely populated cities in North America, Vancouver. Now, this video is going to focus on the crazy mix of South and East Asian gangs from Vancouver to Surrey with a little bit of Toronto mixed in. And you'll see that there's a huge difference between these guys and the more traditional gangs you might be familiar with in America. But obviously, if you're some of my Canadian viewers, then you know exactly what I'm talking about. Groups like the Red Scorpions, Brothers Keepers, and factions like Blood In, Blood Out are actual multinational organized crime syndicates hiring people to carry out contract killings, much different than just regular gang beef that you might see in Chicago or New York. And all these gangs are not exclusively Asian, as one guy often named as a feared shooter along with the Blood In, Blood Out faction is Pistol P, who was a white teenager when he joined. But these groups are major drug traffickers, with some having actual ties to the Hells Angels, as well as the largest cartel in Colombia. Far from just some broke kids standing on the corner selling for their big homie. So the Brothers Keepers and the Red Scorpions, these two very dangerous groups are very intertwined, as many early Brothers Keepers were originally Red Scorpions. The Scorpions were founded when a Korean-Canadian teenager named Richard Jung started bullying Eddie Narong, a Canadian teen of Thai descent, and Michael Lee, a Canadian teen of Vietnamese descent. At the time, the two kids were part of the Law Crew, a small gang run by brothers Michael and Corey Law. And to get revenge on Richard for bullying them, the two boys would attack him in the bathroom of a karaoke club and beat him to death in the city of Coquitlam, which is less than an hour from Vancouver. And the founding of the Red Scorpions would happen as the two teenagers were serving their 18-month sentence for the murder. A light sentence which was almost certainly handed down because the two were still underage. But this founding would culminate in a massacre, which began with an internal dispute. At some point, the Scorpions and the Loud crew were joined by the Bacon brothers to grow the drug trafficking operation, as the crew the Loud brothers originally worked with had been taken over by the Hells Angels. But one day in August 2007, one of the Bacon brothers, Jamie, demanded that Corey pay him $100,000 after he had supposedly tried to take one of Jamie's employees. And it appears Corey refused because just 2 months later, a drug dealer named Safon Sek was paid $25,000 to lead 3 Red Scorpion shooters into a unit at Balmoral Tower in Surrey, where the Loud brothers, Eddie, and another man believed Sek was coming to make a drug deal. Instead, they, along with 2 other men who just so happened to be witnesses in the wrong place at the wrong time, had their heads covered and were executed, with Michael Lee being involved in the plot, meaning that one founder of the Red Scorpions was responsible.
It's so crazy because, like, if you really think about it, bro, them niggas are real life the gangsters. Like, they real life like that. They'll get you whacked for about playing with their money, drugs, anything like that. Like, they the real gangsters. They really like that, bro. You think we over here, you think niggas in America the most top gangsters or the most top scariest people? Nah, bro. Go over there playing with them over there like that, they gonna get you knocked off, nigga, for real.
For the murder of his own co-founder, and this will be a very infamous case known as the Surrey Six. Interestingly, the dealer who was paid to lead
they don't even look like they'll whack you. They don't even look like they'll get you knocked off. But they would though, for sure.
Killers into the apartment had actually just won over $300,000 in the poker championship the day before he was finally arrested for his role in the plot. And all of this betrayal is a trend that also led to the split of the Brothers Keepers and the Red Scorpions. And the Scorpions were allied with the Kane crime family. Sometimes this split began one of the deadliest feuds in the Metro Vancouver area. And what introduced me to the Brothers Keepers was a crazy story of 2 guys being hired by a drug lord in Turkey to assassinate one of his rivals who was visiting Dubai. These were members of the Kang family, which despite being at war now, at the time they were still part of the Brothers Keepers. So these guys took a contract and flew to Dubai, where they traveled to a luxury beachfront condo where Setin Koch was sitting in his car. And not only did these guys somehow acquire firearms after landing in Dubai, but they ambushed the man at close range and escaped from the marina in a rental car, where they then got into some type of fender bender on the way to the airport, but they still made it, caught flights, and landed back in Canada before the authorities in the UAE even figured out what happened. And trying to figure out how an attack like this could be coordinated with the weapons drop, rental car, and flights taken off just in time for these guys to not get caught in the country with the roof.
Nah, bro, you can't skip past like we ain't hear what he just said, bro. What you mean? They taking a flight just to catch they op to kill him in another goddamn country, bro. Bro, there's no way. Niggas in America is not doing no shit like that. They not finna take a trip to damn fucking Italy just to kill they op in Italy. They not doing that, bro. That's crazy. They doing that out there, bro. Them niggas is crazy, gang. I'm telling you, it's some. I wouldn't
This attitude toward any crime is now impossible because just 7 days after arriving back in Canada, one of the alleged hitmen was found dead in the blueberry field. The other hitman was found in a burned out car about 40 minutes from where the first man was found. Both murders are unsolved, and authorities suspect that this man is the one who originally hired the hitman to go to Dubai, but he's never been caught either, and he's currently on the FBI's most wanted list. And allegedly, the man in Dubai that was killed has something to do with the death of a girl in Turkey, which may have been the motive for his murder. Although in an indictment, it was alleged by the lawyers on one side that the man killed in Dubai was actually still alive and that it was he who orchestrated the murders of his two attempted assassins, but I haven't seen much evidence to support this. And just a year later is where the deadly rift happened. As I said, the two hitmen were part of the Kang family when they were still part of the Brothers Keepers. In 2017, multiple leaders in the Kang family were murdered, including Randy Kang, whose death even police say was an inside job. And the revenge for this led to the murder of Gavinder Grewal, founder of the Brothers Keepers. He was found unresponsive in his North Vancouver penthouse by his own brother, and the 911 call placed by his brother was even disrespectfully used as a sample in a song by rapper and Kang family associate Lolo Lansky. Lansky was also accused of murdering the mother of one of his rivals, which he's currently in prison for. But the murder of Randy Kang in 2017 that kicked off the war was committed by a hitman who was paid $100,000 by the Brothers Keepers for the job. He was a hitman and also a rapper named Tyrell Wynn who went by the name T-Sav. Interestingly, he was eventually convicted of the murder along with the murder of another man and the attempted murder of Kang's brother. He was set up by one of his own associates when this associate let the police bug his house and record conversations with T-Sav. And even the witness was a dangerous guy because despite being a cooperating witness for the Crown prosecution, this same man was kicked out of witness protection for committing an attempted murder. Also, according to the authorities in Vancouver, this
man is on witness protection and he got kicked out of it trying to commit a murder. What is going on in Toronto, bro? I mean, Canada, bro. What is going on in Canada, bro? What is going... Please, somebody tell... Y'all let me know if y'all want me to cover more Canada stories, gang. Because this shit is crazy. This is crazy.
feud has also been linked to the murder of a Toronto rapper I covered in my Toronto video, YS. YS was supposedly involved in the murder of a made man in the Mafia, Antonio Fiordo. And according to the Vancouver Sun, a young rapper with ties to the Brothers Keepers was shot to death inside a home in Surrey just before Christmas 2020. And YS was found dead in a home in Surrey on December 23rd, 2020. And I've even heard rumors that his own people got him. But now, I want to briefly cover some organizations that, instead of engaging in a deadly back-and-forth war, they've instead bought up over $1 billion worth of real estate from Ontario to British Columbia in a system called the Vancouver model. Groups such as the Triads of Vancouver and the Big Circle Boys, all gangsters with connections in China, have the precursor materials to create fentanyl imported into Canada. From there, the substance is cut into the drugs already on the streets and then sold. The profit from this is then cleaned through casinos and luxury real estate deals before being sent back to China to start the cycle all over again. And although I insist that they are less violent than some of the mixed Thai, Indian, and Vietnamese gangs, there has been a strange trend of women being murdered or almost murdered in what looks and sounds like contract killings. Although some, like this one, just look completely amateur, as a man in what I assume is a city worker disguise tries and fails to shoot a woman because his gun seemingly jams multiple times. And although the affiliation of these next two cases is somewhat uncertain, they are both definitely the result of organized.
So it's a trend out there to kill women, and as you tried to see, as you just seen, the dude just tried to kill the woman, and his gun ain't even. Gang, what is I'm watching right now? Please, somebody tell me what I'm watching.
Crime, and these both take place around Ontario. So, trail of an international drug dealer living a lavish life with his girlfriend and a missing luxury real estate agent whose burned remains were found in Ontario. Now, in August 2024, Anita Mui was lured from a property she was in the middle of closing a deal on when she was kidnapped. And just days later, her remains were found burned between Nobel and Perry Sound, which is essentially in the middle of nowhere. And although the police haven't tied this to any one group, the situation definitely spells out a planned hit. 6 people have been arrested in connection with the murder of the real estate agent, but the man suspected to be the mastermind was never caught, and he's believed to have fled to Hong Kong last year. Anita has a YouTube channel where she gave virtual tours of the properties she was selling, and these all appear to be the exact type of properties the international drug traffickers and money launderers from Southeast Asia have their eyes set on as part of the Vancouver model. And the alleged mastermind is also from Markham, where a lot of these strange cases have been happening, including the failed hitman in the disguise. But this last case, although it's not necessarily tied,
stupid as hell trying to shoot, bro. This nigga, and it's not even pulling. It's not even shooting a game.
To an Asian gang, it is tied to the international drug business in Canada. Lucy Lee, a wealthy Chinese-Canadian woman and influencer, along with her boyfriend, Oliver Carafa, were both in business with Tyler Pratt, an international drug trafficker who believed Oliver to be his friend. But according to Lucy, they had some business go wrong, allegedly, and this led to a meeting at a warehouse, where Tyler and his girlfriend Jordan flew in from Vancouver, thinking that a real estate agent would be there to meet them. And this is what, in my opinion, ties it to the international gangs from China and Hong Kong. But no real estate agent was coming. It was a cold February afternoon, and Jordan was waiting with Lee in a Range Rover to keep warm, while the 2 men were standing outside. But Jordan noticed Lee was acting weird, and before she could react, Lee opened the door and got out, and the next thing Jordan saw was Oliver aiming his gun through the door and shooting her in the chest, before executing Tyler, who was standing nearby. The couple then fled the scene briefly before returning to ensure that no one survived. But to their surprise, Jordan was gone. Panicking, they circled the area for about an hour looking for Jordan, and when they couldn't find her, they quickly fled to the airport where they actually managed to escape to Europe. Jordan, despite being shot in the chest, had managed to crawl away and flag down help before ending up in a coma in a hospital. And unfortunately, she was pregnant at the time. But she did manage to wake up from the coma and provide the police with key details.
No, I ain't gonna lie. God was on her side from the time she got shot and the time she fucking survived, my nigga. Like, when I say God was on her side, bro, God was hanging on her. Bro, if you get shot in your chest, you know this is where everything is at, bro. Everything right here is right here. You get shot right here, bro, you gone. But she survived a chest shot? God damn.
And was present in court. The couple was eventually arrested in Hungary and extradited back to Canada. Strangely, Lucy was granted bail when her family paid over $2 million to the court, but she ended up breaking her bail conditions by going on dinner dates with potential witnesses, working out at a gym in a luxury Toronto condo, and even using her cell phone unsupervised. She was promptly sentenced to life along with her boyfriend, who had actually made the news years before as a teenager when his drunk driving caused the death of one of his friends. And as any Canadian viewers watching will know, this video only scratches the surface, and there are many more stories that I found that weren't included here, but obviously if the video does well, I can make a part 2. And it goes beyond drug dealing and shooting.
Y'all tell Trap make a part 2, man. Trap University, bro. Y'all tell him we need a part 2, bro. I'm gonna cover these Canada stories back to back. I want to learn. I want to see more, bro. I want to see more videos of this shit. This shit is crazy.
Because even escorts, including one known escort that associates with some Southeast Asian drug trafficking gang, is known for drugging and robbing people, with one person her and her associates were accused of drugging losing his life as a result. But if anything, this video can both serve as a reminder to Americans specifically at how dangerous the underworld of Canada can be, and also a cautionary tale for any young people that may think this life is appealing. But let me know what you guys think, or if there are any stories from these groups that I left out. But thank you guys for watching.